it's a beautiful evening to talk about crypto, wouldn't you say, Tim?
Well, it's funny. The moral is from times like this is when, bear markets are when you build. And we're certainly living up to that. It's more an opportunity, I think, than a threat, but it is a bit painful at times.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Uh, all right, everyone, welcome. It's really good to have you all here today. If you're joining for the first time, uh, you're welcome. And team, thanks for joining us once again. Before we dive into Presearch and everything that's happening there right now, I just want to take a bit of time on your journey, because actually matters for what you're building today. So you've been in crypto long enough to see how much it's changed. So would you mind taking us back, if you don't mind, to how you first got involved, what kept you around through different cycles, and how those experiences eventually shaped the idea behind research and the problem that you felt needed to be solved?
Particularly relevant question today. Yeah, I've been involved in crypto now for 13 years. If you go way back when, I was living in Moscow, of all things, in a company that was starting a new exchange, not for crypto, but for fiat, and then added crypto later, trying to be an interactive broker's competitor. They had set up what turned out to be the world's first crypto fund, we would call it now, but BTC was the only thing around. So there was no discretionary management. People would subscribe to the fund, they'd buy Bitcoin, the fund would buy Bitcoin, people redeem, some fund would sell Bitcoin. I had a lot of fund management experience. I never heard of Bitcoin. And they said, hey, how'd you like to manage our fund? Because we set it up, we don't have any experience. So I said, yeah, sure, I'll manage your fund as long as there is no discretion involved. And what the hell is this Bitcoin thing? It's the dumbest idea I've ever heard of. And that's how I got exposed to crypto. Fast forward 6 months, I dug into a book. I read a book on Charles Ponzi, 5-year-long tulip crisis. Tried to figure out, what was the scheme, what was the fraud in BTC. Discovered there wasn't one. Then looked at fiat, because fiat was up here, BTC was down here, and looked at what fiat money really is, and it plunged down. And then I realized, hey, BTC has as much of a right to exist as anything. By the time it was all over, my own fund, which I was shutting down because of what was happening in Russia, I converted it into a Bitcoin trading fund. So I created the world's first crypto trading fund. I moved back to the U.S., shut that fund down, created another fund here, which is now almost 8 years old. So it's still one of the oldest funds, even though it was started 5 years after my first one. And that fund invested in ICOs. In 2017, we invested in Presearch. I was an advisor for 4 years because I recommended it on CNBC. I effectively launched the token. And I quit after 4 years and then 3 years later, they said, look, would you take over the company? And I said, okay, but we're doing it my way. So set up a brand new company in the U.S., bought the assets, left the old company behind. In the 2 years, we've cleaned it up, much better, much stronger company. And we're about to just do something massive because it was focused on a search engine, didn't have its own search engine, was a meta search engine. Now we have our own search engine. It's been launched. We're indexing. We've auctioned off NFTs that gives a right to run a node, index node, crawling nodes, all sorts of 7 different kinds of nodes now. And we've built our own inference engine. So we're going straight into AI. We can do bespoke searches for people. That is just all screaming. We're doing a fundraise now, a Series A, and that's going reasonably well. It's actually going very well given the macroeconomic environment. We have a network of GPUs that we're selling, so node runners can earn from the search side of things, from the inference side of things, and from the GPU network side of things. sort of a better, an improved version of Akash or Render. And the company is really about to take off. It's just fabulous. And that's why I say we're taking advantage of slow markets to build even further. But right now, pretty much everything's built. We just need to scale it out. And that's what we're doing the Series A for, to really turn the what was a search engine project and was a meta search engine, right? It was a portal to other people's search engines. Now we've got our own search engine, which is the world's first post-AI search engine. So rather than index all the words on a page, on all web pages, which means our indexing is much faster. The searches are much faster. And because we're decentralized, we've got tens of thousands of nodes around the world. It's easy for a website to block Google if they don't want Google to look at it. Because we're decentralized, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to block us. So we have more comprehensive search results. We have better searches. It's really, really an exciting time for this project.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really amazing. So when you look at Presearch, what Presearch is building right now, what's something people most often misunderstand about it, like especially beyond the idea of just being a search engine?
I guess there are two aspects of it. One is how do people look at Presearch as a search engine? And the second, recently, it's not really been a pivot, but we built such a powerful tool for the search engine itself. We realize it has just a raft of different areas of monetization where people who are doing placing bets on any of the the new betting platforms. If they want bespoke research for that, hedge funds want to invest and they want bespoke research. And so in addition to providing a really good search engine, what we're doing is stacking on top of that. And what most people haven't heard of Presearch, which is a bit surprising, but the prior team did no marketing, and we didn't for a while as we were building. Now we're doing a marketing effort. So they haven't heard about the search engine and just in general. And then all the stuff that we're adding, which is very new. So few people have heard about that, but it is just opening doors like you can't believe, because now people are less interested in meme coins and meme projects and the token of the day. They want companies that have a real business and a real revenue, whether it's token revenue or dollar revenue. We're a real business, solid business, hundreds of thousands, soon to be millions of searches a day. And we already have fiat revenue from a new kind of ad that we invented that's appears behind all the search results. And we have token revenue from and so this is a project that is more substance, and it's a DeepIn AI project. And it's not just, we did something to add those labels to it. At its core, its DNA is DeepIn AI. And the whole world is moving toward those two kinds of projects now. So we're just crazy excited about it.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Well, you're already operating a live network with over 20,000 nodes around the world. Is that right?
We've had up to 80,000, yes, but those were search nodes only when we didn't have our own search engine, and we really didn't need them. But we need specialty nodes now, and whereas before people could stand up a node whenever they wanted to, and it really reduced the profitability of each node. These nodes, only as many as we need. So running the node becomes much more profitable now. And the NFTs that represent, they're not NFTs like Bored Apes, BAYC or something. They're NFTs that actually give a right to run a node people are buying and selling the NFTs already on OpenSea. So there's value in the NFT, there's value in the token, and there's income from running a node. So it's really become a comprehensive ecosystem.
So, do you guys like have challenges on that? What's like the more challenging that you expected? Like, what's been surprisingly smooth around the nodes?
The biggest challenge, the most unexpected one, was when
Yeah,
the team and I took over Presearch a little over 2 years ago now. It was a complete Web 2 project. Everything was centralized. And it's now completely Web 3, and it's on base and a whole bunch of other things. But the surprise there, I'll tell you very honestly, was how difficult it is to make the transition from Web 2 to Web 3. I mean, basically, from one perspective, you're accounting for it centrally, and the other, Web 3, you're letting people do things like staking from custodial wallets, from their own wallets. Sounds relatively simple. It is massively difficult to do because you have to build the Web3 system, and then you have to build a way of migrating, allowing everybody to migrate to the Web3 system. And some people don't want to. They want you to curate their tokens for them. So you end up building a second system, allowing a transition between the two, but then you have to maintain both Web 2 and Web 3. So it took us over a year to do it. It was completed about 3 months ago. That was by far the biggest challenge. A lot of dev time, a lot of work, a lot of explaining to the community, but now it's done. And it's fabulous being Web3 because ultimately it's easier. Makes us much more transparent. Some of the problems with prior management related to transparency, we've gotten rid of all of those. Everything is on chain, and it just is a much more efficient, streamlined, transparent project now.
yeah, that's pretty understandable. I wanted to talk about like how does Presearch make sure that the data it serves stays accurate and trustworthy while still fully respecting user privacy.
Good question. Really two questions, privacy and data quality. Let me address the data quality first, since that was first in your question. So how long it's going to take for us to index the entire web? 20 billion pages, it doesn't happen overnight. 20% of our efforts are re-indexing pages that we've already indexed for changes. So that's one way that we, just in general, search engines have to do this. But then the other part that we can do that no other search engine in the world can do, because we're completely decentralized. It's not, one set of servers, Yahoo or Google or Yandex servers trying to scrape the web or index a website. It's decentralized, so it can be any one of those 20,000 nodes, and we'll soon have more as we're auctioning more off, that can index a site, can crawl a site, and so you can't really block it. And that, unless you're blocking everybody. So that gives Presearch a massive upside in terms of data quality that no other search engine can touch. And we're indexing by verticals, so you don't see it every place, because we've got about 10 million now pages since we started this effort relatively recently. We're auctioning more NFT. We did one NFT auction. We're auctioning more in a couple of weeks, and so we'll speed up. Every auction we do speeds up accelerates the number of pages that we can index. So the information is accurate, and it's like everybody's is, but it's more complete than anybody's is, which is a real USP, a unique selling proposition for the project. In terms of privacy, as I mentioned earlier, we invented our own kind of ad. Ads, pop-up ads, everything, they're very intrusive. We invented an ad we call the Presearch takeover ad, which is the background, the wallpaper. So that ad appears behind the search results, so it doesn't get in your way. And the reason we had to do it is because all the ad providers, the third-party agencies, they all say, "Oh, we ensure privacy," and none of them do. They all plant pixels. They plant hot metal code or HTML code. They plant cookies, something in their ads because they want to trace you. And we've all had the experience. You do a search on one device and look on another device and you see all sorts of ads for that search. Doesn't happen, can't happen with Presearch because every search you do also goes through one of those 20,000 nodes. And what that means is you can't be profiled because your one search goes through Singapore, your next search goes through Brazil, and your third search goes through France. You can't be profiled because the websites that you're searching, they see this one search, but they may try to track you there, but the next search is from a whole different direction. They can't build a profile, and your information, your data is kept more private than on any other search engine. If you look at like DuckDuckGo, which claims to be private, what DuckDuckGo said in a recent ad was they did television blitz, said, "Hey, we won't sell your data." And I just laughed at that. I said, because look, first of all, you still have the data. So there are three people that can get that data, three types of people. One, law enforcement. They can go and subpoena that data. You have to provide it. Two, regulators. They can demand data or metadata, and you have no choice but provide it. Three, hackers. And we all know how pervasive hacking has become. Presearch doesn't collect the data. We don't have your personal data. We've had the privacy authorities from the EU, individuals invoke their rights under the EU. Give me all the data you have on me. Here's my name. Here's my country. Here's proof that I live in that country, and you have to do this. And obviously they send an email. And it hasn't happened a lot, 2-3 times. Our response is always the same, and that is, thank you very much. We had no idea who was connected to this account, this email address. If you've registered for Presearch, you give an email address. 2/3 of the people have never registered, so we have no information on them. Here we have an email address, but with nothing attached to it. We said, look, all of the information we have on you is the information in the email that you just sent us saying who you are. We have no data. Response, nothing. And that's it, completely accurate. Everyone else collects at least some data on you, and hackers, law enforcement, regulators can get at that data. Sorry, we're very cooperative, love to cooperate. We just have no data. And that is the best privacy guarantee of any search engine on the planet.
Okay. So in terms of real world usage, who's actually using Presearch today, and how have you seen that usage change or grow recently?
Well, Ronnie, look at your question, right? You're asking me about privacy. I say we're completely private, and then you ask who's using the search engine today. The answer is we don't know, right? If we weren't private, we would know. We have an idea of the demographic that uses us, right? Which is tech savvy, generally male. We think because we have these background ads and we can see what the searches are. We don't record that information, but we can see them for the short period of time the search goes on. And then the search isn't tied to anybody. So we have no data again. But we know what things sell and where there's a good click-through rate because somebody, if you buy data, if you buy something from them, they'll see where you came from, and then you give them data. You don't give us data. You give them data when you buy, what you need to buy something. So we see what sells and stuff. So that we have a general idea of the demographic, and that's what I'm giving you now. So skews male, skews more, obviously tech savvy, seems to have disposable income, and those sort of characteristics. But in terms of who uses it on, and probably crypto savvy as well. But what is based on metadata, because like I answered in your first question, we don't have any data on anybody. So 100% for 100% certainty, I don't know. I got no idea. I don't want to know. We don't want to know. We don't track that.
That's pretty great, actually. That's pretty great. So,
we like it.
yeah, that's pretty unique. So, I'd like to dive in a bit more into the pre-token. I'd like to know how it shows up in everyday activity on the network, and how does it like keep incentive aligned
Sure.
long term?
Good question. We have not, until very recently, we have not done a lot with the pre-token, because my philosophy, and for my sins I'm running the place, was we're going to build a business, build a good business, and the token will follow. Hence, I mean approach. So now we built a good business, and we're focusing on the token. So I mentioned that we just did about a month ago, we did our first NFT auction. And we had a reserve price for the roughly 100 nodes that we auctioned off. We ended up receiving 3 times what the reserve price was in tokens. So people could only buy the NFTs to have the right to run a node with tokens. We got 3 times what we expected because people bid so high. And we're doing another auction, and the rules of that auction were quite simple. But now we're going to leave the auction open longer. We're changing the rules a bit, so I think we'll get even more. That event, the results of that auction, was those results were the single biggest deflationary event in the history of the token. Until then, and so the price went down. It's now at 0.3 cents, and it's been stuck there for months. And now we're starting to have deflationary events happening with the project. We're pulling more tokens off the market, putting them into treasury. If you project reasonable growth of the search engine, which means reasonable demand for NFTs to do more crawling and more indexing and more searching, we run out of tokens. In other words, people have paid all the tokens back to Presearch to buy these NFTs to run the search engine. Now, that'll never happen because that assumes the price stays where it is. But since we're becoming more and more deflationary by the laws of supply and demand, the token price has to increase. And we should start seeing that shortly. Can't guarantee it, but there's absolutely no reason for moving up. Because until now, we couldn't close the loop, giving out tokens. So there are about 800 million tokens out there. Treasury has about 200 million, which really isn't that many. Now the Treasury is getting bigger, and that 800 million is getting smaller for the first time. If you add up all the deflationary events, since the founding of the first company, and now I founded the second company, if you add up all the deflationary events over almost 9 years, what we did last month exceeds all of those in terms of the deflationary effect. And what happens in the next auction will double or triple the number that we pull out from the prior auction. So absolutely massive deflation coming. And there are other things you can do with the token. You can stake keywords, paying with the token. You can buy ads We have pre-GBT, our own AI chatbot, which you can pick from 12 different other ones through ours, and it costs a couple bucks a month. That's also paid in tokens or can be paid in tokens. So we are setting up an ecosystem. Actually, we've set up the ecosystem, and now we just need to scale use of the ecosystem. And that's really the only use of proceeds for the Series A that we've launched.
Okay, that's great. That's great. It's really amazing the fact that you guys have a lot of innovations and the pretty cool stuff you guys have made for Presearch, which is really amazing, and it's cool. So
thank you. Thank you. It really
yeah,
had
what do you think?
a portal, just a portal, a meta search engine. To now we're a tech forward company. We are doing stuff in AI and search that nobody else on the planet is doing. And with building the inference engine and being able to do bespoke searches, being able to do privacy focused searches, and we can even do exclusive searches where someone could have exclusive access to the results of a search for not forever, for 30 days or something like that. All sorts of things you can do when you have your own search engine, and when your results are matching vector to vector, because we vectorize pages when we index them, and Google, they search for the words, and then when the vector search comes in, then they have to vectorize everything. It's a much more clumsy process. As Steve, our CTO, the search engine today, they would build what we built.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we know that search is one of the most competitive spaces in tech, right? So as Presearch continues to grow, what do you think like makes it genuinely hard to replace?
All of the unique aspects of Presearch, or almost all of them, are related to having a decentralized search network. Nobody else has that. That is our USP, and that allows us to monetize in all the various ways I just described to you. It is very competitive. It's our biggest difficulty is getting people to switch to a new search engine. It's hard to do. And so that's why we're doing the Series A and want to scale it, or will scale it. But it's not simple. People are used to doing it. But as we index more and more web pages, and as our results become more and more distinctive from the results you get elsewhere, it is going to be easier for us to persuade people to change the search engine they use.
Absolutely, absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right.
There just seems
So
to be a long delay between when I stop talking and you pick up, but that's fine.
I'm sorry, it's the network, or maybe Telegram glitching again. So looking ahead over the next year or so, uh, what progress or milestones would that would make you confident that Presearch is clearly on the right track?
Very good question. Success in the Series A, token price moving up, and the company breaking even on a cash flow basis. We're covering about 50% of our burn now, like to cover the other 50%. And all that is a function of scaling. We don't need to develop anything new. We don't need to do anything, honestly, any of the heavy lifting. That's been done. We need additional funds to scale, and a lot of that will go into the token as we start building serious scarcity into the token, into tokenomics.
Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, I'd like to know if you guys have done like merchandising for your project.
If we what? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
The merchandising. Have you guys done merchandising like hoodie, T-shirt, face cap, or something?
Yes, yes, we do. We've actually got some really good stuff. We just adopted a panda as our mascot, which gives us all sorts of fun things
Wait,
that
what?
we
What?
can do with
Wait, did you just say panda?
panda. Yes, a
Like a
panda
real life,
bear.
a real one?
No, no,
No, I just
no.
want to know
I
because
have a
people do
feeling
crazy stuff.
a lot
People
of
do
people
crazy
would
stuff most
object if
times.
we had a real one.
Not because we know we've seen a few projects that no they did for a dog, and some also do for like they buy a Lambo and then they design the it's just crazy, to be honest, but it's okay.
No, no, no live pandas. We'll let them live in the forest and in zoos and chew on their bamboo shoots.
You're right, right, right. So for people in the community trying to evaluate research beyond short-term price movement, what like signals or metrics do you personally pay the most attention to?
The biggest one, the initial biggest one is number of what are called impressions. And that is how many people look at the site, whether presearch.com, which is the homepage, or the search results page. The second statistic we look at is the CTR, the click-through rate. And that is how many people click on anything that they find. And keep in mind, these click-through rates are tiny. The average click-through rate in the industry is 0.3%. So what that means, if 1,000 people look at a page, three of them, a grand total of three of them, will click on it. And when you think about how many times we all, see ads, you see them all the time now. You don't click very often. So 0.3 is average. Our click-through rate is generally a little higher than that. Actually, it's almost always a little higher than that. But we also have kind of a second search engine, a not safe for work search engine, which is adult focused but very tasteful. There's no frontal nudity on it, but there are some OnlyFans creators that advertise on it. But it's also for the inevitable ED stuff, for toys, for dating, various other things, just adult focused content that goes into NSFW. And you have to certify that you're over 18. We don't check it, obviously, because privacy, right? There are a number of interesting projects that are being developed where you can actually confirm you're over 18 without disclosing your identity. We may add one of those when they're more mature. But the NSFW click-through rate is more than 3 times. It's been above 1%. And 1% means 10 is a lot more than 3. And these small differences that sound small are really important. That's triple the CTR. People love that. So our NSFW site and the advertising, a number of users and impressions and CTR, they're all growing faster. That's all growing faster than the regular site. The regular site's still like 9 times bigger. So the NSFW is only about 10% of the business, but we didn't launch it that long ago. So it's really almost 2 different sets of web pages, two different businesses, business models, and it's 2 different sources of monetization. So we're really, really pleased with that because we've got innovations there like in OnlyFans. OnlyFans doesn't have a search engine, and I'm not a user of it, so I'm describing this secondhand. But there's a gentleman who developed a search engine for OnlyFans that's part of Presearch NSFW, which almost nobody has. And we just added, it'll be coming out, the announcement, I think comes out tomorrow, where we're doing visual searches. So you can put up a picture that you like and search OnlyFans for other people, other creators who correspond to whatever picture you put up. And literally nobody is doing that. So we're innovating both on the regular search side and on the NSFW search side.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. Well, obviously, Presearch combines dependent AI and decentralized data index. So, how do you see the fusion changing in the way developers and project interacts with Web3 data compared to traditional APIs or centralized services also?
The elephant in the room in answer to that question is AI, because nobody has really, even OpenAI hasn't. Right, OpenAI has, it's going to have $1 trillion valuation before too long, and it isn't monetizing well, monetizing at a tiny, tiny percent of what it needs to monetize at to make any sort of profit, to justify any valuation, even close, even 1%, honestly, of what its current valuation is, well into the hundreds of billions. So the difficulty is, in answering your question, is where is AI going to end up? Because it's still very, very early days. And how will AI monetize? We have been trained by, among other things, search engines to not pay for services. We get things for free, a lot of things for free. And OpenAI, some ads will cover some of it, but take a look at Google, or Alphabet, very, very profitable company. And it gets most of its monetization from ads, although the Azure, their cloud is extremely profitable as well. Most of the profitability is just from ads. And people don't pay for ads. Indirectly, they do with a click-through rate, as I mentioned, but directly, we don't pay. It's not sustainable. It's not even theoretically possible to do enough advertising to pay for OpenAI, to pay for all of the AI resources, the hundreds of billions of dollars being put into restarting nuclear power plants to power the servers that power the inference engines that drive AI. And that demand is only increasing. So there has to be a monetization model. And it may be it'll certainly be partly an enterprise-based model. And that's why we at Presearch, we're definitely shifting strongly into, or adding, an enterprise model where we can do bespoke searches and all the other things I mentioned. It's really, really important to be able to do that, because ultimately we don't know yet where AI is going, and most importantly, again, where the monetization is coming from. But because we're monetizing now, we have other ways of monetizing, and because the token is deflationary, I don't want to sell the token, but in theory, we could sell a little bit to just make ends meet, if you will, at the end of the month. But I think we'll be able to monetize in the traditional way. Anything we do on the enterprise front is just pure profit. That's a really nice position to be in. And our competitors, who are obviously much, much bigger, they don't know the answer to how they are going to monetize, how they are going to break even, how they are going to grow into the valuations that they have. We do. That gives us a massive advantage.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, guys, don't forget to join the platform, engage with them, and also grab a bag. This is gonna be my last question, Tim, and then we're gonna move to the community question. So, looking beyond search itself, what opportunities do you see for Presearch network and data infrastructure to enable entirely new types of decentralized applications or services in the broader Web3 ecosystem?
Well, the biggest one is obviously agentic AI. And we have built the search engine for agentic. The MCP layer is built into everything. That is where the monetization may well come from. But you have to change the structure. Everyone else has to change their structure to accommodate MCP. We don't. We built it in from the very beginning. That is the single biggest difference that between Presearch, because it's the world, as far as we know, it's the world's first post-AI search engine. So we have things like agentic AI, support for agentic AI built in. And that makes a huge difference for us.
Right. Okay. That's understandable. Well, guys, it's time for the community questions, and please raise up your hand. Just tap your mic, your hands. The indication is there, and I can see you. So, in the meantime, Tim, could you? Is there anything like you didn't cover, like we didn't cover during our time? Maybe you'd like to add something to it, or anything that we didn't talk about that you felt like you need to, say out there.
The only thing I would say is please take a look at presearch.com. Give it a try. And because we're working on scaling now, some of the use of proceeds will make some tweaks to the UI UX. It's never done. It's a never-ending story. But give it a try. And if you don't like something, give us feedback. We're very quick about implementing changes and improvements. And if you'd like to invest, contact me directly, tim@presearch.com. Very, very, very simple. We can talk about that. It's really an exciting time. And with the market like this, this is the time to. I should let you know, Ronnie, I do have a hard stop at 11. I've got a conference call with a potential investor, and so I'll have to leave, drop off right at that time.
Yeah, I get it. No problem. We're just gonna take a few questions from the community, and we
Sure,
can
of course.
cover from that. Right. I see Liam. Liam, your mic is muted already. You can ask away.
Hi Tim, hope I'm audible.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah,
Go
I can
ahead.
hear you. Go ahead. All right. I would like to ask about the pre-token. Like how does Presearch balance rewarding early supporters and node operators while keeping the token value sustainable and avoid too much sell pressure as the network grows? If that's okay with you.
Good question. And there has been a lot of sell pressure. The biggest thing we're doing is what I just described. Doing the auctions, we're soaking up pre that's out in the wild, as I like to say, as people buy the NFTs. And if you look at reasonable growth of the project, people actually end up spending all of the tokens to buy NFTs at the current price. And we just had the biggest inflationary event. What we did on the tokenomics for the nodes, we broke down absolutely every aspect of running a node, and we published it. And so you can see what the earnings are from any node. They're roughly at 18% per year if the token price never moves, which is impossible, because as the project continues and we do more auctions, we're going to soak up more and more tokens. The price has to increase. And that is what token holders or NFT holders can win a number of ways. They actually get monthly income because they're getting the pre-token. They can sell them or hold them as they wallet, but more of those tokens than we're paying out, which is fabulous. They can earn because the NFT can be sold. The NFT itself has value. They bought it for 1,000 pre or 10,000 pre. And a year from now, it may be worth 20,000 pre, and the pre themselves will be worth more. So they can make money on the NFT. And then on the tokens, assuming the price goes up, they're earning the tokens, and they also had to stake the nodes. They had to buy tokens to stake the nodes. They remain their tokens, and their custodial staking, so it remains in their wallet. The value of those tokens should also appreciate for all the reasons I just mentioned. So what we've done is we've taken tokenomics, which really had no, they didn't close the loop, as I like to say. Token projects work a lot on how to give tokens away. They don't work on how to develop a demand for tokens. So we don't see the effects on the price yet, particularly with the market going down as much as it has. But the pre-token has got down a lot less. Yesterday it was up like 10% against BTC. Yesterday was a bit of a weird day, I realize. But nevertheless, and we're going to pull more and more of those tokens starting this month. Our second auction is this month. We're pulling more and more tokens off of the market. And by definition, deflation has to drive the price up. Look what's happening in BTC. Same general principle. I hope that answers the questions for you.
Right. I think he left the chat. I see Itachi. I hope that answers your question. Oh, he's back. Well, let's move ahead. Let's not waste any time here.
Fire away.
I already muted you.
If someone's speaking, I don't hear him or her.
I muted Itachi. Itachi, you can ask your question now.
Hello guys. Hello guys, how are you doing?
Itachi.
Hello.
So my question is, what makes your project different and similar than other projects in this space?
Well, I think I covered that rather thoroughly when talked about the decentralized nature of the network, which no one else has.
Yeah, exactly.
And the privacy aspect of it. No one else can touch our privacy. Even the other supposedly privacy-focused search engines. So I think those two USPs, as I like to call them, unique selling propositions, those distinguish us from every other search engine out there.
Hope that answers your question, Leon.
Yes, actually, that's great. I wish you all success in your project and good luck. Thank you for answering me.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So we're running. We got 5 more minutes in case you want to ask a question or somebody else does, or we can wrap up early. Obviously, up to you.
Yeah, just give me a second. Let me unmute you. Let's take Michael. This is gonna be the last question because there's gonna be a little bit of a speech from me to cover up the session, so we don't pass the 5 minutes that we have. So Michael, you can ask a question. Michael, could you ask your question away? We don't have time.
Hey everyone.
Hey,
My
Michael.
question my question is as research grows, how
Ronnie, I'm not hearing anything. He said, as Presearch grows, how? And then I lost him.
as research grows, how do you keep users, node operators, and builders engaged for a long run?
I don't know that that's ever going to be an issue. As it grows, the search results get better and better. So that will attract the users. As it grows, the node runners will make more and more money because of token appreciation. And advertisers, which is our other sort of demographic, if you will, that we work with, the other counterparty, they will be more and more excited because the more searches, better CTR, better click-through rate, and better monetization for them. It makes it more and more attractive to advertise on Presearch. So just by the nature of search, the various counterparties or concerned parties, users, node runners, advertisers, they should get happier and happier as the project grows. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, hope that answers your question, Michael.
Thanks for the clarification.
Sure.
No problem. No problem. So I don't know if we could take one more and then we can round up for the session. That's okay.
I think we can fit a quick one in.
I didn't get what you said.
I think we can fit a quick one in.
Yeah, all right. I see Sanjay from Gollums. Sanjay, could you ask your question already? Right, let's take Crypto Blake. Crypto Blake, your mic is unmuted. Can you turn on your mic? Turn on your mic so you can ask your question. We don't have time. Okay, we've passed obviously the time, so we're gonna round up for the session. Uh, all right, everyone.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, I'm Captain Black.
Captain
Okay.
Blake, I like your name.
Okay, I have a question. Can I ask?
Fire away.
With Google's
Yes.
massive index and AI-powered features in relevance and quality,
I'm not sure I
Sorry,
heard that.
Ronnie, I didn't get that whole question.
Oh, me too. So, you can ask it
I
again.
and we have to wrap up, Ronnie. I'm actually going to be late a little bit to get started on this call.
Okay, no problem.
So I'm afraid that's it for me for now.
All right, let me round up for the session. So, guys, if you have any questions regarding Presearch, you can go directly to Tim or go to their community and drop the questions. So, all right, everyone, that wraps up our AMA with the Presearch. A huge thanks to Tim for sharing such great insight and talking time to answer all the questions. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming, Tim. To everyone who
Thanks
joined.
for listening us. Thanks for
Oh,
you all. Take care.
yeah, take care. Bye
Bye-bye.
bye. So, to everyone who joined and asked great questions, you made the session awesome, really. So, don't forget to follow Presearch on the socials, stay updated on everything they got coming. And also keep an eye for the full recording of this video. We'll be sharing it soon on our Telegram channel and our Twitter platform as well for anyone who wants to catch or revisit the conversation. So thanks again for being part of the Chainrich community. Stay tuned for more AMAs and events coming your way. And have a fantastic day. See you on Thursday. Bye-bye.